Hi, John here from Field of Fitness in Guildford. So today we're going to go through program number 1. What we're going to go through today is get a real basic understanding of those fundamental movement patterns and the basic core conditioning exercises. What's hugely important when taking part in any fitness program is getting the basic fundamentals right. Technique is everything, and sometimes this can be quite difficult when you're at home. So we want to go through those fundamentals, get good habits, and then we can build on those good habits over the next 6 to 8 weeks. So before we start, we're going to go through a very simple warm-up exercise. It's called an inchworm with a thoracic rotation or a T-spine rotation. What this does is opens out the whole body, gets the heart rate up a little bit, and again focuses on core activation, mobilises the hamstrings and the lower back. So the way we start that is we keep our feet hip width apart, we slide our hands down our thighs, we walk all the way forward until we go into that press up position. Once we're there, we bring one foot next to the hand and we open up the arm and we follow the arm with our head. We bring it down, we take the foot back, and then we walk it back with our legs relatively straight. If we can't walk back with straight legs, then by all means bend the knees slightly, but the drill is to try and go back with those straight legs. So that to me will be our kind of good go-to, and you might do that for 60 seconds, and you could probably do that twice round or 3 times round, just to get the body moving. Let's start with the press up. May sound basic, but again, one of those exercises that's done really badly pretty much across the board unless really coached properly. So what we're going to do is go through the fundamentals of that movement. We start in a press up position, so that's with our feet together, shoulder blades should be down and back, the belly button should be pulled towards the spine, and the elbows should be in a W shape. So what we're not looking for is to push the elbows out to the side. We should have the elbows relatively close to our rib cage, and allowing ourselves to drop down, keeping a nice straight line all the way. If we struggle with that, we can do it on our knees, or we can do it in an inclined position. So an incline, either using a chair, or a step, or a bench, so your body is at a slight incline. Again, go through 2 to 3 sets of maybe 10 to 12 reps, but go through the quality fundamentals first. Once we've done that, we're going to go into what we call like a reverse fly, or the opposite movement to our push. So again, this can be loaded up, but get those basics right first. We start in a good upright position, we lean from the hip, we bring the hands down by our side, and what we're going to try and do is focus on pulling the shoulder blades down and back. What we want to avoid is hunching the neck and the shoulder. So what we try to do is keep the chin down, palms open, rotate your thumbs, and try and squeeze those shoulder blades back, and then return. So it can be used as a warm-up drill, mobility drill, activation, or again, it can be used as strength as well. So therefore, you've got your push and your basic pull exercise. From now, we're going to go into a hinge pattern. This hinge pattern is an exercise that focuses on the hamstrings, the bum, and the lower back. You may have heard of a deadlift, but again, you need to get those movements right first before you start going under load. So what we're going to do is keep the feet hip width apart. We're going to bring the elbows in really tight to our sides. Imagine you're holding 2 plates in your hand, and you're going to lean forward without dropping the plates. The biggest cue here is sticking that bum out, slight bend of the knee, and keeping the chin tucked into the chest. What we tend to normally do is just collapse into that position. So really tall, elbows tight, stick the bum out, and lean forward, keeping the hands up relatively high. That is what you call a hinge pattern. So get those fundamentals right before you move into what we would classify as a deadlift exercise. From there, let's go into a squat. So again, squat is a very functional sit to stand exercise. What we do here is we have a good solid base with the feet. What's important is we have that good overall base that keeps us a bit more stable. If we try and go too close or too narrow, we create an unstable base. So a good solid foundation with the feet, a good upright position, so focusing on your posture. Take your hands out in front of you, draw your shoulder blades down and back, and go into that sit position. We want to make sure that what we don't do is lean over the front. We've got to keep ourselves upright. The more upright we are, the more our core or our spine has to work. So a healthy core and a healthy spine is really obviously paramount with regards to general everyday exercise. So that's your basic sit to stand or squat. And again, that can be done under load as well, but get those fundamentals right. Let's move into the press. So this is an exercise where we're going to press above the head. From here, we've got a lot of fundamentals that we need to work with, because this is generally done in a bad way, because we tend to arch the lower back as we press above the head. So it's hugely important we have flexibility before we go into that overhead extension. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to sit ourselves down against a wall or a pillar. From there, we have our head, our middle of our back and our lower back pressed against the rig or the wall. From there, we bring the arms to 90 degrees. We keep the chin tucked in, and we're trying to press the hands all the way up, keeping your arms in line with your ears. What tends to happen is we end up here. So what we want to try and do is pull the shoulder blades down and back, reach the arms as high as we can, keeping those hands behind you and not in front of you. Try and avoid arching your lower back to get that position in place. But again, a really good drill to focus on those good quality habits. So that's your kind of basic strength exercises really. They can be put through into a circuit, they can be done individually, but please let's nail those basics. Let's go on to some core stuff. So again, when you're working your core or you're working the muscles in your abdomen, it's really important that you focus on your lower abs first. You then move into your sides with your obliques, and then you finish in the middle and the lower back. So basic level number one is understanding your neutral spine and keeping your back relatively flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay on our backs. We're going to lay ourselves all the way down with our head supported on the floor. And all we're going to do, very simple, is place our fingertips under our back in line with our belly button. When you're in that position, we're going to raise one leg off the floor and then back down again, keeping the pressure through my fingertips. So what we don't want to do is crush it and create a rounded shoulder effect. We want to just gently tilt the pelvis until we feel pressure of our fingertips against the spine. We're going to raise one leg and alternate legs. Really important to keep that pelvic control and abdominal control as we go through that movement. We can make it harder by taking the feet further away, but again, get good habits, get the fundamentals right, and then build on those fundamentals. Let's move into a side plank. This is your side plank position, where we have one foot on top of the other. We have our elbow, our hip, our knee and our ankle all in one straight line. We draw the belly button in nice and tight, and we push up and we hold that position. We're obviously fighting gravity here, so the cue is to keep pulling your belly button in nice and tight. Make sure you are in that nice straight line. If that is too difficult, you just bend the knee, and again you create a 50-50 split between the shoulder, the abdominal wall, and obviously the load through the leg. So it makes it a little bit easier on you. That is a static hold exercise. We're looking to hold between 30 and 40 seconds. From there, we've got our classic plank exercise. So the plank is an exercise, again, that's done pretty much across the board, but let's go through the basics of how to do that properly. We start on our forearms with our knees right back behind us. We draw the shoulder blades down and back. We draw the belly button towards the spine, and we keep our feet straight. From there, we push up into that hold position, drawing the belly button towards the spine. We try and squeeze the muscles in the bottom as well, and keep everything as relaxed as we can, but focusing on holding the belly button towards the spine. What tends to happen is we drop into this arch. That's where we do not want to be. That's where we can create issues with our spine and lower back pain. So making sure we keep a nice straight back. If that is too much for you, then just stay in that starting position, which is when your knees are bent. Let's move through to the final one, which is what we call a Superman. This Superman exercise is a great drill to focus on the small muscle groups in your lower back, and great to focus on general stability. So what we're going to do is start with our triceps, which is the back of the arms. They're going to be parallel with your thighs. We keep the shoulders nice and relaxed. We draw the belly button in again, and we raise the opposite arm to opposite leg out in front of us. We hold that position for 10 to 15 seconds, and then we come back in again, and then we repeat the other side. What we're looking to do here is keep our shoulders down and back, our belly button nice and tight. We're squeezing the muscles in the bottom, and we're trying to hold that position without falling over. So again, hopefully, with all those exercises we've just gone through, that gives you some real good basic understanding and fundamental education on how to almost put those exercises in place, ensuring your safety at all times. So give it a go, good luck, and then next week we'll progress things to the next level and take things to a bit more of a challenge.